Coming up on November the 22nd from Macau, China, and on HBO pay-per-view, Manny Pacquiao takes on Chris Algieri. Algieri has held his training camp in Las Vegas at the Palazzo Resort and Casino, and we were invited in to do a special in-ring demonstration with a young man who has a very interesting background and a boxing style that could present some problems for the Pac-Man. Welcome in this corner.
Pleasure to be here, Smitty. Thanks for having me.
Your entrance, your segue into boxing has been a very unique one. I mean, I know you were karate and wrestling, and then a world champion, two-time kickboxing champion. How was the transition from all of those different disciplines into boxing?
You know, it taught me the lifestyle of discipline and training hard and focusing and performing for a single event. So in that case, I think all those other sports, those other combat sports, really prepared me well for my boxing career. Although they're all very, very different in terms of technique and style of training, but just living that lifestyle of dedication and being healthy and fit.
He understands the game. He watched it when he was very young with his grandfather Carlos. He understood what the jab was, what range was, what discipline is, and when you put those things together, and then you find coaches that also know the game and study the game, it's instead of using 4 weapons, you're using 2. So those 2 weapons get very, very sharp. So Chris has had 2 razors up top that we've been working on for a long time now.
I'm still finding my my boxing leg, because really my first boxing match, amateur pro, anything, was my pro debut. When I was
You never had an amateur fight?
No amateur boxing fights at all. So my first boxing match was my pro debut back when I was 24 years old.
How do you think your smarts, your thinking, your quick thinking has made the transition and then this game easier for you?
Well, I think boxing is the fastest chess game in the world. And chess, you got to be thinking. You got to be thinking. You're thinking moves ahead. You're thinking about your opponent's moves, your own moves. There's leading and countering. So I think being able to think fast, in the ring, even under fire, literally, with the way boxing is.
In the eye of the storm.
Exactly. That's something that we say in camp all the time. When everything's going wrong around you, you still got to be able to pull yourself together and stick to a game plan and be strategic. Your
smarts in healthcare and nutrition and fitness, how important has that been for you as a fighter?
It's kept me young. I'm a young 30. I'm 30 years old, but I've taken little damage in the ring. I've been fit my whole life. And I eat well, I train well. I allow my body for relaxation and rest, which has been something I've gotten better at as I've gotten older. So it just makes my body, a different age than what I am chronologically.
How have you enjoyed this being in Vegas at the Palazzo here and training before all fans in a different environment? Of course, you had to bounce around and go to LA and meet Stallone and Eva Longoria you met and all these different. What's it been like?
It's been fantastic. This is the way it should be. This is the way it should be. For one, I fight in a hotel, so living in a hotel and preparing has made me very comfortable. I'm fighting in the Venetian Macau. It's like almost identical to the Venetian Las Vegas. And the accommodations here have been incredible. I had my own private gym, which is what you want as a champion. I've been training like a champion for most of my career. Now I'm actually being treated like one and getting the opportunities to live and train like one. And it's been a great experience. It kind of is like a throwback. I'm a throwback kind of guy. I'm a purist. And opening up my workouts to the public, I think, shows a lot of what you said earlier about what fighters have and do outside of fight night. We do so much before fight night. The public only sees the fight. There's so many things involved leading up to a fight and about the person. And I think allowing the public to come and watch me train allows a little peek into that. So let's slip on the gloves and show some of the skills that have made you a world champion. Let's do it. Ready? Yep. Ready. We'll start out with the most important punch in all of boxing, and I bet you know what that is. That would be the jab. The left jab in your case, and you do a tremendous job of it. Not 1, not 2, not 3, even 4 at a time. Talk about your jab. The jab is the number 1 for a reason. It's the most important punch in boxing. It sets the tone, sets the pace, resets your opponent. It's great to lead a combination. It's great to end the combination. And really, it just sets up all the other power punches. Really, that's even in punch counts. There's jabs and there's power punches, which are basically non-jabs. So it's that important that it has its own distinction. Let's give a little illustration of the Chris Algieri variations and types of jabs. Oh, there's a million kinds, but this is a regular, just straight jab, shoulder high, nice and straight, right down the pipe, keeping the hands up. You can be slipping on the inside and jabbing up. There's an up jab from the down position up here, where you're coming here, dropping the head with it, sliding inside and coming with the up jab. There's the over-the-top jab here as you're moving out to your left. You can step and jab to the body as well. Changing levels is important. Changing levels and jabbing up, changing levels and jabbing down. Okay, high, low, as you said, double and tripling, sometimes quadrupling it up.
And not many guys throw 4 jabs these days.
Well, it takes a lot of range and ability to defend yourself as you're doing it, because there are openings when you jab. Right. It's one of the easiest punches to counter if you're not properly throwing the punch.
You know, one of the things I try to tell young fighters too, that back in the day, trainers were teaching begin with a jab and it sometimes end with
and the jab.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about your right hand before we get to some of the other stuff. Mm-hmm. And you throw it very accurate. Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed about you, later on in the fight, it becomes even more accurate and harder.
Yes.
But very precise.
I don't like to waste my right hand. I like to really set it up with my left hand, make sure I have my range, get the rhythm of my opponent, and then when it's time, I'm setting everything up with this lead hand because it's long and I can use it. And then when it's time, I want to shoot it right down the pipe and get right to my target and make sure I don't miss. Because if you miss a right hand, you're open.
I don't think you use it enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. With the last fight with Provodnikov, I was spending a lot of time trying to protect this eye, so I kept that right hand pinned in pretty tight. Yeah. I think in this fight we're going to see it a lot more because I've been working out a lot in camp, and I'm looking forward to using it. But yeah, it's an important punch to keep from good position. The torque is so important. I use a lot of torque from my hips.
Right.
I like to really rotate my shoulders. It adds extra length to my punch. I have wide shoulders for my height and weight. So for me, I can throw this punch here, but if I rotate those shoulders and go all the way through the target, I can make
more
that
leverage,
punch even longer and even harder.
Yeah, distance, leverage, timing, it all comes together for you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I want to talk about before I forget about it that I heard in your corner,
mm-hmm.
and it's a word, I know a lot about boxing, man, but I haven't heard creeping. Creep in, do the creep. What the hell is a creep?
Creep is actually changing levels in front of your man. Okay. And getting him to come out. So you creep up on him, you can change the level in front of him, get him to reach, get him to throw, and then you can pull out and try and punch from there. So if I creep on you, I change levels, you think I'm in a defensive mode, but really I'm looking to counter and looking to move. Okay, so it's just that idea of getting a guy thinking one thing and doing another.
You also really, really do a lot of feints.
Yes.
A lot of old school, a lot of upper body movement,
mm-hmm.
and also in the beginning of a fight, I noticed you kind of like to peekaboo a little bit.
At times.
Hands held high,
mm-hmm.
here. Where did you get that from?
My kickboxing days.
Really?
When I was a kickboxer, I was much more of a peekaboo, kind of catch and release kind of fighter.
Okay.
And I'll do that at times where I'll be here and I'll look for any kind of opening. So if you hit here, I'm coming over and coming back. Back then I used to finish with kicks.
Yeah.
But I used to love being here and just seeing all the punches coming through because a lot of kickboxers weren't as solid punchers as a boxer was. So I felt comfortable picking everything off and then firing right back. I think we're going to see some of that in the coming fight too, because Manny's going to be throwing tons of combinations. I'm going to be picking shots off and coming right back, being right in his face.
Another shot I like that you have watching some film was the left uppercut,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Which I think could be a very important shot in this fight, because one of the things that Juan Manuel Marquez did so effectively, it's why I thought he beat Manny the third time, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, he would throw the jab and then come up.
Right.
And I saw a lot of you doing stuff with the uppercut
mm-hmm.
against Provodnikov. Talk about that.
Again, in that fight, I was really trying to protect that eye, so I had to be extra busy with my left hand. So I was using
overboard with the left.
Had to, because I had to keep this in tight. I didn't mind hitting my chin at that point.
Right.
I just wanted to get hit in that eye.
Right.
So I was really working that left uppercut off the jab, the hook there, the uppercut off that hook. So really being busy with that, changing levels and being active with this left hand. People ask me all the time, are you left-handed? I'm not. I'm actually right-handed. But, again, in that fight, everyone got to see me, and that hand was pinned tight to that eye, so.
Man, you can go all night long.
Mm-hmm.
You get better as the fight goes. I actually think, and I don't say this about too many fighters, especially today, because they don't even know how to count beyond 12.
Yeah.
15 rounds. I mean, talk about your motor, your conditioning. I know a lot of it's God-given, mm-hmm. but so much of it has to do from your discipline and the way you eat. Talk about it.
It's my lifestyle. I'm fit year-round. I train year-round, but training camp we really pick it up. And we like to always say, what round is it? Round 1. Doesn't matter what round we were in. Yesterday we did 12 rounds, and the 12th round, my trainer goes, Tim Lane goes, what round are we in? We're in round 1, baby. Every round is round 1. Feeling fresh, feeling sharp. Come fight night. 12th round. I feel like it's round number 1.
You do a lot of sprint work,
mm-hmm.
as different from the typical get up at 5 in the morning and do the 5 and 10 miles. I don't know, maybe you do that as well. Talk about your sprint work.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me, how much do you run? I don't run all that much. I work hard when I box. But I do a lot more sprint work because I'm an endurance guy. I'm the kind of guy who can roll out of bed and go run 10 miles because that's just the way, like you said, it's God-given. That's my genetics. But sprinting for me is where I get the most out of it fitness-wise. So I do a lot more sprint work. And then when I box, I'm busy. I'm boxing even when I'm doing pad work. Even on these workouts, if I'm doing pad work or sparring, I'm working very hard every single round. So I get my fitness while I box.
We talked about with him, some of the nuances and things are a little different, like he does a lot of sprint work. And what are some of the other new implementations that you do as a camp with Chris?
Non-physical things that we do, you can do a lot of physical things. You can work on a jab, you can work on movement, you can work on sprints, but some of the non-physical work we do is we do flotation and Epsom salts, where you float in an isolated tank that brings you back. Actually, we're doing it after today. Whenever there's a lot of things going on, like the other day when we had a flight, we go and float after the flight to bring him back. It's 100 pounds of Epsom salts that make you float like you're in a Dead Sea, and it brings him back to where he needs to be with his aura and his energy. So it's all about maintaining energy. We also do a lot of visualization work and massage. So Chris does a little bit of everything to keep his mind right. I don't need to show him any more things physical.
How important to you is it this camaraderie? With Huntington, New York, with Tim, with your family, your talk about that.
We're a family, and I'm very very tight knit with my own personal family. But Tim is my brother, and my trainers are my brothers, and everyone on my team is very very close. We have a small circle, and I think we have a lot of positive energy, and it shows on fight night.
Well, Chris and I bonded in the ring. He was my sparring partner, and I got to learn a lot about him as a spirit and learn who he is inside. And once I had the respect for him, I learned about how he was outside the gym, and he's just such a great human being, man. Everything he does, he's very honest with himself. He's very honest with the people around him, and what you see is what you get. He doesn't cut corners. He's always honest with himself. Our whole team is very passionate about him. We have quite a few fighters that we've dealt with also, and to have somebody like Chris, he's a dream student. And if as in a coach's career, you dream of having somebody like Chris. And I never had anybody like him. Don't know if I ever have anybody like him again. But it's the team feels the same way as I do, and he's just a wonder to work with.
Manny Pacquiao, November the 22nd. What is your game plan?
Game plan is go out there and beat Chris Algieri. I got to go out there and beat myself. I got to be a thinking man. I got to play chess faster than him. I'm the younger lion in there, and I say, people are like, oh, you guys are so nice to each other. It's like, we're both animals, and that ring is the jungle, and we're going to go in there and we're going to fight. But I got to be the young lion. I got to be the young, smarter lion.
Prediction?
I'm not one for predictions, but I keep hearing "and the new" in my head. Make sure you guys tune in. We've been working super hard. We're as ready as could possibly be. This is my fight to win. I'm going to go out there and perform. Make sure you guys check it out.